I know what you mean. Like before we had kids, the dogs were babies.
Yeah.
It's like we had birthday parties for the dogs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so last night it was Teddy's birthday, and so he got the ball like for most of the day. He had got to go in we call it his crib, his little cribby. That's their kennels. So the kennels we got nice kennels where they also are like furniture as well. So it's like it looks like an end table, and
that's neat.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got it off of Amazon or maybe Wayfair or something like that. Wayfair. So and they got a ton of different ones. So but they need to be kenneled like frequently, like scheduled. Like if they're tired and all they want to do is like snuggle up with you, but if you're puttering around, you got shit to do, then they get crooked and then they might fight each other, for real.
Yeah.
Instead of just like play wrestle. So so you need that like structure for them where when you recognize they're tired, then you just put them in the kennel and lock them up, and otherwise they feel like they run the house. They're like,
you mentioned that before that they they get pretty aggressive.
They're like little Napoleon like they're these tiny Frenchies, right? Like little Napoleons, and so Teddy more so than CB because Teddy's like a little ringleader. I don't know if this is like a kind of theory that I have though, that he's able to communicate with his like snorting. He snorts so much and he's a really smart dog. So I'm thinking that his ability to like snort gives him a little bit of an edge in communication, which is better for his like neuroplasticity.
Interesting.
And it like essentially like giving him a little language that raises his intelligence a little bit more than other dogs. I don't know if that's like not to like a German Shepherd level, because they're like, they're like smart dogs or whatever other smart dogs are like, but he's smart for a Frenchie,
I mean, he's snorting language. That's pretty.
Yeah, you can tell like based on his snorts, like what he's, what he wants essentially. Like we can like read him like a book, So, or if he's like pissed off at us, or or if he's feeling anxious and he needs to like be close to you or whatever, So it's I don't know. I'm probably we're probably two insane people, me and Clea, but
No, man. I like. The thing that blows me away about dogs is that they have a very distinct personality.
Yeah.
Like you can tell what's going to piss them off.
Yeah.
You can tell what they're entertained by.
Yeah.
And we had our dog Tyson, who died last year. He would like huff.
Right.
Like he'd be like,
yeah.
So if you got on the couch, he didn't want to be on the couch if you were on the couch.
Right.
So when he got up there, he'd fucking huff and leave. It's like,
yeah.
And even by the way he was walking, you could tell that.
Yeah.
What he wanted to do.
Right.
And
yeah. And you can see a look in their eyes. Like their eyes are very. I think this is an evolutionary thing. Their eyes are what's the word? Very not descriptive, but their eyes like really paint like a picture of how like their current like disposition is too. So I think like you can see the whites of their eyes, and I think that is more so than other animals. And I think that's like an evolutionary trait that makes us relate to them more and makes them like more endearing to us.
That's interesting.
Like with the puppy eyes thing. I think that's a thing. I could be making that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need a fact checker. Yeah.
We need a Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta
or a Grok, just an AI. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Grok? I noticed at the dog park, like the dogs will play with each other, but then they'll come back, depending on what's going on, to their owner to check in. Like if a dog barks at Roman, that's like freaks him out. He'll come over and be like, "Holy shit, you see that?"
Yeah.
Stop fucking
they
bang that dog.
Yeah, they get like they get self-conscious, so they get like a little bit. They need, like you said, like need reassurance or whatever.
Yeah.
And they need to be the nod that they're doing okay, and whatever. But like lately, when like we got a big window in front of our house, so like they love just like running up to the window if they see somebody walking by the house and like growling and whatever. And lately, I've just been saying like it's okay, like instead of being like get out, stop it, like acting crazy like them, because they're acting crazy, and then they hear me acting crazy, So I think that kind of fuels it. So if I change the tone of my voice and I'm just, you know, saying it's okay, that person's there, no big deal, like they're not coming here, then it seems like they're kind of snapping out of it quicker. But
you can soothe them.
What's that?
I said you can soothe them.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm like, we don't yell in the house. Like,
right.
Everything's like, you know, one of the kids says something stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, buddy.
Right.
Don't do that. You know? And Roman, the front door was open.
Yep.
We were moving stuff in, and he darted out.
Yeah.
And I like yelled at him like for the first time in his whole life.
Yeah.
And man, it was like he got shot by a gun.
Yeah.
He turned around with his fucking ears down, and like his tail between his legs, just like crawled in. I'm like,
Yeah, they were fighting one time, like for real, and just what little bulldogs do, and I yelled at them, and Stevie shit like when I yelled, like he let his shit go, you know, just dropped ass, and I was like, you know, and I felt like so bad, but I mean, they can like really hurt each other because they'll go, they'll like try to grab each other's ears or like their little paws or whatever, and they've been like cut up before, so you know, I get a fright too, like when they start scrapping, but yeah, like they don't like hear us raise our voices very often either, you know. Did you grow up in a yelly house?
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I refuse it.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, me too. Like, you know, just like, you know.
There was a lot of yelling, but like even the communication was like,
right.
If you're downstairs in like the back corner and they're fucking upstairs out on the patio, they'll like yell your name. You know what I mean?
Right.
What's your father?
Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
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 Like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You know?
And I can't stand it when Clea yells out to me in the house or whatever, you know? I'm like, I'd rather you call me in the house than like yell out to me, you know, because I don't like that either. You know, I'm maybe that's like something from my past as well, where it just causes me like anxiety.
Dude, it's stressful.
Yeah.
If someone's yelling out to you, especially if you can't hear them and you're like, they can't see what you're doing.
Right.
You might be like under a fucking, like screwing the toilet down or something.
Yeah.
So it was like, Jordan. It's like, oh,
yeah. Fuck. Yeah. And they're like, wow, you get up, boom, hit your head on some shit or whatever.
Oh, man. Yeah. My old man, it's like, I think it's in the Imberly name. Like, just, if he ever worked on anything, it's like, motherfucker, fuck.
Yeah.
And he was down changing out the toilet in the basement. Just so happens. 2 toilet references.
Right.
But, and he was there and he had to, it was like an old ass house, and he had to like remove something on the floor. And he was like, no, sorry. He was putting anyway, convoluted, but he was putting a piece of wood down in underneath to brace the toilet. And he was fucking knocking it in. And he called me in to like hold something.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him. And he's like tapping in this nail, and he hits his thumb, and he goes, fuck. And he pulls a hammer back and smashes the fucking toilet. Like the bowl. And it's just pouring out.
Holy shit.
It was amazing.
The bowl just cracked. With it.
He blasted the hammer through the bowl of the toilet.
That's nuts.
When he pulled it back. And I was like crawling around on the floor laughing. It was amazing. Yeah.
Did, when you, like if your dad ever asked for help for anything, did he actually let you help him, or did you just have to stand there and watch him do it and hold shit for him?
Oh, just hold.
Yeah.
Same for you?
Yeah. From what when I remember, my dad is like pretty handy, and but I never learned shit from him because it was always just me like watching, like freezing my ass off outside or whatever. Or he's like putting up the lights, and it's like, Jesus Christ, Jesus. You know, it's like, you know, just that kind of stuff nonstop. Yeah. I'm just bored out of my mind, you know, because you know I can't learn from just watching somebody do something. I have to get in the mix and like
same here.
Like you know, tinker around with it and fuck it up, and then that seems like that's the only way I learn. You know,
I'm the same way. It really hindered me. Like I never learned shit until I got older, and I like had to teach myself.
Yeah.
Pam's dad is like really handy, and he showed me
right
how to do stuff. But yeah, like I was always like you, just like holding a light,
Yeah.
like watching.
Yeah.
He's in there fucking, I don't know, putting a plug in a fucking truck,
Yeah.
like cursing his ass off.
Right.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Switching hands.
Right.
You like reach over and fucking tilt it.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah. You get good at holding lights, you know, exactly, exactly where they need
forearm
that light.
strength was fucking through the roof. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had that problem, like, I guess, like you're saying, like right up into like work, first like becoming like doing my job, and then in as like a like my field trainer, like, you know, he was similar to my dad in that sense, where he wouldn't let me do shit either because he was so like type A and like and a control freak. Like he just needed to do everything.
Okay.
And if he saw me like kind of fumbling my way through like a call or trying to think my way, like, okay, how do I figure this out, or how do I problem solve here, he'd be too annoyed at how much of an idiot I was to, you know, to let me just sort it out. So it was only when I got on my own that I could actually actually learn what the hell I was doing. It's like same thing like jiu-jitsu too. I mean, I have to get caught in the same submission or like leave my head in so many times for, you know, get like huge cauliflower from just getting strangled in guillotines, you know, to actually learn how to protect my head, you know. So
I thought you actually fucked up my ear on Tuesday. It was, I wasn't tapping. I think you had me in a, you always get me in that
head and arm.
Yeah.
And
my arm was on my ear, and my ear was folded.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll fight it. And then anyway, I got up and I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. I put those on slow. I'm trying to like, I just want to constrict and not do like because you can lock those up and do like a death squeeze and like really crank a guy.
I believe it.
You know?
Yeah.
And especially if you're like tripoding and you're in mount, you know, so it's like it's a submission that you really have to like tinker around with and get a good feel for how you just hit the choke in the submission and not, or the strangle, and not absolutely just like twist the guy's head off. But and everybody you do it to is different too. Like, you know, the way their body is kind of shaped. Some guys it's really easy to get on, and other guys like Nick, like I squeeze him. I put a death squeeze on him, and he's just chilling, like, you know. Yeah. And Rodney's another guy that is hard to strangle.
He will not tap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like well, it's funny because when he got into not tapping, I was like, man, what am I fucking doing wrong here? And then like he'd get up, I see his face, it'd be like purple.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're just not tapping. That's what it is.
Yeah. He enjoys it.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great because he's like such a technical dude.
Yeah.
And because he's got that like perseverance and not tap, it's like it really makes him dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can fuck up and wear yourself out. Like if you don't have, because I gotta make sure I have those strangles on like perfectly, you know, or I'm just gonna be wasting energy, wasting a squeeze on some bullshit, you know. So when you do get him to tap, and like, you'll just sit up and it'll be like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You know? like you were like, you know, it's like, dude, like, you're enjoying that a little bit too much. Like, what the hell's going on? Yeah.
Jesus, Rodney.
Yeah. He's just
You're
at home
die in here,
with the belt in the closet, like, what, you know? So,
getting ready for class, honey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back to the we're talking about like a lot of I find there's a number of people you meet, and like if they got to teach you something and they might be a bit older, they're just like doing it themselves because they don't want to have to take the time, or, you know, they don't want you to fuck it up and they got to redo it.
Yeah.
And it's like I find as I get older, like I got to fight that.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, okay, just let them do it, you know. They got to learn it and not getting crotchety.
Right.
And I find like if I never had enough sleep, or if I didn't eat,
Yeah.
it's like gnawing at me to come out.
Yeah. Because it's so much easier in the short term to just do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
But in the long term, you're going to be dealing with the same problem over and over again with that person, or whatever, you know, whatever kind of lesson or whatever you're trying to teach them. You know?
Absolutely. So, and you need, like, if you don't, especially, well, like you teach in the the children's classes, like
yeah,
they're blank slates. And
mm-hmm.
if you don't teach them properly, then like they're not going to learn the skill,
Right.
and then they're going to be lacking in that later.
Yeah.
You know, it's it's a disservice.
Yeah.
To be like that.
Yeah.
But I can understand where it comes from.
Right. Yeah. Kids are tricky for sure. There's no right or wrong way to there's no like this is the way to do it, but it's so tough, like understanding the specific age groups when you're teaching kids, like what their threshold for like attention is, and how much information can they absorb in a certain amount of time. That's always kind of tricky to navigate.
Absolutely. I found with Giles, he's 10. He's a good age to learn stuff.
Yeah.
But if it's something that he's not interested in, it's like super hard.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to stress how important it is,
yeah,
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, and
not
getting frustrated at that.
Yeah.
Is something to deal with for sure.
Yeah.
But
he's in the 10 to I guess 16-year-old age range for the classes we put on, right?
Yeah.
And but even them, they like to play games, even the 10 to 16-year-olds, so because for the 5 to 9-year-olds, we always have to mix in a game every 15 or 20 minutes, like in the middle of the class, maybe at the end of class, to kind of break up or to have them something that they're willing to listen and engage with the instructional stuff in the moment to have the game later on. But I found that even like the 10 to 16-year-olds still want to kind of play a game sometimes, that they just don't want to always be learning technique and then having like a little sparring match with somebody or situational whatever, so
I think it might be a bit stressful for them too. Like, it's good and they should do it, but I could see you're trying to make another person tap.
Yeah. Right.
Even if
yeah,
like Giles will pump himself up and then almost get angry.
Yeah.
There was a kid there and we were talking about it before, but like they're great partners because they're both just like getting amped from the other one. And I can sense his anxiety when he goes in there.
Yeah.
But I think that, maybe like the games kind of break it up and they can finally relax a bit.
And also build more of a relationship with each other too. You know? So it's more of a, instead of just a strictly like competition based relationship, they're playing a game and they're having fun together too,
Yeah.
But, and I think that's the difference between kids and adults, that we dudes enjoy and have fun like beating each other up.
Yeah.
It's fun getting beat up and beating other people up, so that's the whole thing that we look forward to in a class where, you're bored of drilling techniques or whatever, but you still have a few like roles to look forward to at the end of class, so, but yeah, that's definitely a big difference that it's hard to kind of factor in and figure out what each kid's like kind of needs are, because especially like a 10 to 16-year-old range, that's a huge range, because you're having kids that 10-year-olds who haven't hit puberty yet, and then even like a 12-year-old who has just hit puberty. There's a huge difference between like a 12-year-old that's hitting puberty and like an 11-year-old, you know what I mean? So like physically as well, so
mentally too. Charles, we play Call of Duty every Friday.
Yeah.
And I had to go walk the dogs, but we were on like a chat together.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out with the dogs and I came back, put the headset on, and I could hear him go, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "What'd you say?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, nothing." I was like, "What the what? What was that?" He's like, "Oh, what the rock?" I was like, "Oh yeah, what's a rock?" He's like, "I'm sorry." It's like, "Buddy, what's going on?" He's like, "Everyone says it." I'm like, "Okay, you're almost teenager." He's called something gay the other day.
Yeah.
Which was, I'm like, it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, especially if they're playing other kids online, and like those Call of Duty like voice chats are notorious for people saying insane stuff.
Oh my God.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So they're exposed to that kind of language like right off the bat, you know.
Well, the 12-year-olds, like, you know, nice shot, you know.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
it's the other F word.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, my niece, I think she's 6, and she's got like, you know, she curses like a sailor, man. It's nuts. And you know, so
she's 6.
yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, yeah. She's a little devil, but you know, she's a sweet kid. But yeah, and she's, you know, but she gets a kick out of like saying stuff that kind of makes you turn your head and be like, what, you know? Yeah. So she enjoys that, you know. So and she's funny too. So it's tricky because she'll say something funny that you don't want a 6-year-old necessarily saying, but it's hard not to laugh at it, and then fuel that, you know. And at the same time, you don't, if it is genuinely funny, it's, you know, you want to kind of, you always want to laugh at something if somebody's being genuinely funny, and not to make them feel bad about it, because I mean, having a good sense of humor is such a I mean, that's such a cheat code in life. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Like that, having a good sense of humor is so underrated in your ability to navigate life and deal with stress and deal with bullshit and whatever. So
yeah, it puts people at ease, and
yeah,
especially like if you got to make buddies somewhere and you're funny.
Yeah,
it's so much easier.
Yeah,
girls like it.
Yeah,
you know, it's
for sure
a cheat code.
Yeah, and you know, like one of the, or you know, and even dealing with like cops and first responders and doctors or whoever, that like they're notorious for having like a dark sense of humor and being able to laugh at stuff that normal people would be like, you know, you're a monster, you know, like how dare you laugh at something like that. But you're almost laughing or making a joke to kind of like pop your peers, like to actually get the laugh from your peers, and because it's something that it's not the first time you've necessarily saw something that was in that kind of a way, or whatever the example would be. But you know, it definitely helps people process or just move past things that are, you know, otherwise horrific. You know what I mean? So I mean, I could get into some crazy stuff, but I probably shouldn't say. You know,
it's up to you, man.
Say some of that stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, I got some examples of that are funny, but it would make like a normal person be totally totally like, holy shit, you know.
Are you ready to elevate your podcast to remote meetings? Let me introduce you to Riverside, the ultimate platform for high-quality, professional remote recordings. It's the same trusted tool we use on the Mantle to bring you crystal clear interviews with our remote guests. With Riverside, you can capture studio-quality audio and video from anywhere in the world, making it a game changer for podcasters, content creators, and remote professionals. If you're ready to take your content to the next level, use our exclusive link in this episode's description to get started today. This episode is brought to you by Pump Less Clothing. Ready to unleash your inner beast? Pump Less is here to fuel your fire. With intense, no-holds-barred designs crafted for men who dominate in and out of the gym. Pump Less isn't just gear, it's a statement. Every piece is built for warriors who thrive on the grind and live for the pump. Whether you're smashing PRs or sculpting your legacy, Pump Less gives you the edge to look sharp and train harder. No excuses, no limits. Step into the intensity of Pump Less today. Gear up and show the world what you're made of. Visit pumpless.com to get their latest drops. So is it is it common for everyone to kind of have a dark sense of humor? I know you mentioned.
Yeah. Very common. You know, even the most like straight-laced people that get into it, like after 5 years on patrol and dealing with that kind of stuff on a weekly basis, and not necessarily as extreme as a suicide, that you're not necessarily dealing with that every week, but just situation after situation that is just for the regular person, like I keep saying, but is just extreme or whatever. A straight-laced person will eventually start cracking as well, and dipping into that kind of humor, you know. So yeah, I think that's just kind of I think it's a trait that like humans have probably leaned into for a long time, you know, being in a foxhole or in a trench, and you know, you're getting bombed and stuff, and like, you know, like back in World War II or World War One, I mean, those guys were probably, you know, in between being terrified, trying to lighten the mood and try to keep like good morale going, you know. So because having good morale for those types of jobs is crucial, you know. If you have bad morale as a cop, then that's something that the citizens and the people that you're trying to serve are going to see as well. Okay. And that's going to reflect poorly on the institution as a whole. And you don't want that.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, people need to be able to trust and expect competence from their police officer. And if they're showing up like miserable to calls, or like they don't want to be there, or they're too busy, and they're just trying to deal with that call as quick as they can. I mean, for the cop, it's just one call, and they're going to forget about that within a day or two. But for that person, I mean, that might be the first time they ever called police in their lives, and it might be one of the worst days of their lives. But for the cop, it's just another day, you know. Yeah. So you really got to respect that, and put that in the forefront of your mind when you're dealing with people on a regular basis, and not get lost in the totality of all the calls that you've experienced in your career. And, you know, so treat each call where, you know, it's just as you care just as much as the person that had to call you. And even if you don't truly care, you gotta at least put it up and be able to have empathy for them, right? So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I guess too. Is it like a desensitization after a while, or is
yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, like even with like traffic stops too. I mean, I don't know how many times you've been pulled over in your life. Not
many, but a couple.
Yeah, like I've been pulled over once, I think, maybe. So the average person driving out there doesn't, you know, they're not getting pulled over every day. They're not getting pulled over every week. They're getting pulled over once every couple of years, maybe, you know. So if once every couple of years you deal with a cop who pulls over people every day, and he's just coming up to you like a robot, and there's no even talking to that guy or explaining to them, you know, why it is you may have committed the infraction that he pulled you over for, or whatever the reason is. You're just talking to a Tesla robot or something. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Like that person's going to be like, who are these guys? You know, they're not even engaging, or you can't even humanize them. You know, so that reflects poorly on police too. So it's so easy in a job like that to get lost in the sauce and just go through the motions and not understand that every time you come in contact with a person and you're wearing that uniform, that it's a big deal to them, but not a big deal to you. Like, you really gotta pay attention to that for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. I got pulled over. It was like a long weekend, and we were going. Doesn't matter. We were going somewhere, and we only had Jaws at the time, and driving down, and I was going like 110, and I get pulled over. I couldn't believe it. I was like 110, and the guy comes up, and he's like an older fella. He's like, you know, how fast were you? Do you know how fast you were going? I was like 110, I'm pretty sure. And he was like, yeah, so blah blah blah. He's walking me through it. I'm like, really though? Like a speeding ticket for 110? Isn't that like a lane changing speed? And he goes, well, what's the speed limit?
Yeah.
I was like, 100. He's like, yeah.
Yeah. So
I was like,
and the reason why he asked you, do you know how fast you're going? Because he wanted you to admit how fast you're going, so that he can make a note and just say admitted 110, you know? So,
Shit,
so
yeah.
then like if you contest it and you go to court, he doesn't have to like explain how the Doppler effect in police radar works, of how it calculated the speed that he measured going, which is, you can get into some technicalities on that. But so essentially, like when police use police radar, it has it shoots out like wavelengths of this of radio waves. So the faster a vehicle's coming at you, it condenses those wavelengths, and so when it condenses those wavelengths, they can measure the distance between the wavelengths, which can calculate the speed. So the same effect is if you hear like sirens, like sirens coming towards you, the sirens will they'll oscillate faster as they're coming towards you, and then once it passes you, it starts oscillating slower again.
Interesting.
You know, so
Okay.
it's like, you know, so the siren's going like super fast, and then it passes you, and then it goes, you know, and then the siren wanes. It starts waning as it goes by you. So that's a Doppler effect as well. It's the same thing in physics, where it's like redshift. Like, so you have light that redshifts when the further light is away. You know, when you look back to the beginning of the universe, a lot of that. Like the stars that they will see like way back, or and the deeper it gets in deep space will be red, because it's gone further and further away. So that wavelength, that light, the wavelengths of the light, the wavelengths get really elongated.
Okay.
You know, so and when they get shortened, there's like a different color to it. So that's like a layman's explanation of the whole Doppler effect thing, but I don't even know why I started explaining that.
No,
Right?
it's
But,
yeah. I never liked physics. I wasn't good at it.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's how police radar works. So, most cops can't explain that. So when they get on the stand, they're kind of stressing over having to like explain how like the Doppler effect would work if somebody asks them that question as in their own defense. Like, how does your radar work? How do you even know like what that thing's doing, right? You got to explain how these like all your devices work. So when he asks that question, how fast do you think you're going, and you say 110, then he can just write that down as a note, you know. So
Damn.
yeah,
Okay.
but so even if you say you can get written a ticket for 1 kilometer over, you're as speeding, but
yeah,
realistically, you know, yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, when people try to drive the speed limit, there's going to be that
fluctuation. Yeah,
there's going to be a spectrum of like how people are driving, or if they're passing people. So getting written up for 110 is a bit extreme, you know.
Oh man, as soon as we started driving, then after that, it was like cars were just bam,
yeah,
bam.
yeah,
Fuck's
yeah,
sakes.
yeah.
Where are you now?
Yeah.
So get pulled over. Ask how the radar works.
Yeah.
Let's go 95.
Yeah, how did you calculate my speed? Like, how do you know that thing's even working today? Like,
explain me the Doppler effect.
Yeah, did you use your tuning forks to to see if it was working correctly? You know, because you have to do that too. So like to make sure that your radar is working effectively that day, there's tuning forks.
Really?
Yeah, that
That's wild.
That you hit, and then you measure it with the radar to make sure it's giving the right frequency, you know, so it's
guys out there using magic on these radar machines.
Yeah, you're getting pulled over by scientists, you know, real physics scientists, you know. So but yeah, so yeah, don't admit that. Just say how fast was I going? Oh geez, I would assume the speed limit. I mean, my God, I'd never drive anything over the speed limit. How fast was I going? Like, do you have any idea? You know, so
that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah,
like, I wish I'd known that.
What? That fast? My goodness, you know. So,
good gosh, I would never. Jeez, I'm sorry, officer.
I got kids in the car. Oh my God, like, you know.
Yeah, usually. Like late, I find around Clarenville to Corner Brook, people are going crazy, but it's always those overpasses like on the way out.
Yeah.
That they pull people over.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you got to get a clear shot of the person too, and you have to be able to make sure that the radar is measuring the correct vehicle. You know. So.
What about the cameras that are stationary that you drive past?
Yeah. We don't have any here.
Okay.
But yeah, like they have those in a lot of other cities, and like red light cameras and whatnot. So they'd use the same thing, or like laser, but it's all essentially the same method of how it calculates it, right? But so yeah, it just, you know, when you're just driving towards something. I mean, an example of that would be like school zone, like, you know, when they have like they show your speed when you're coming, and they'll like show if you're going too fast or whatever, and you see those around all the time.
Yeah,
you know, so that's like a stationary thing, but it just doesn't photograph your license plate as well, and then mail you a ticket. You know, so
gotcha. I'm trying a new thing. So I found out from all the editing that my face is always angry. I got like an angry concentration face.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to relax my face.
Oh
yeah. Because Pam was mocking me for it. Because whenever she's like explaining something that's going on somewhere, she's like,
brow, like,
yeah, and I got fucking wrinkles from furrowing my brow.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you always look really like angry. You know, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it's more confusion.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I am, right? Like, it's, you know, I do the same thing, you know. Got to get like Botox in our foreheads.
Yeah, I have no wrinkles.
That's what a lot of women do, you know. So they'll Botox their whole forehead, so they don't get the wrinkles. So then they can't even, like, you know, move their eyebrows.
There's
around.
A lot of monsters going around now. I noticed, like, they must have plastic surgery here now, because like there's a bunch of at the mall every once in a while you'll see one with like the really fat bumper lips.
Yeah, they just get that injected.
Yeah,
that's just a filler. So that doesn't have to be plastic surgery, but
okay,
I've heard of cases where women have had like necrosis, and
Jesus,
so they've gotten the injection, and then it hit a nerve or something, and their lip decays. You know,
oh my God.
I think it's pretty rare, but I mean, it's a risk when you're getting that done. How horrific would that be?
It never looks good. Like, it doesn't, like the Botox thing where they can't smile.
Yeah.
And their eyes are always like unreadable.
Well, the stuff that looks good and it's subtle, and you wouldn't think that they got it done, and you don't even know the difference, you know? So, but
yeah, fair enough.
But when it's overreach, and it's, you know, lips are like plumped up, and get crazy, right?
And like they can't smile.
Yeah.
And they always got like the fake sweater cows going on too, and it's
well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is, you know.
You don't like, no one ages well, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
Well, you know, like I saw like a meme the other day of like a 50-year-old in 1960 versus a 50-year-old in 2020, whatever, and who was the 50-year-old? They had like some like Korean pop star who was like 50 and he looks like he's like 20. Just is like not a wrinkle in sight, like jacked, and then they have like a 50-year-old from like a TV show back in the day, like All in the Family or something, where, you know, like the guy looks like he's 80 and he's gonna die, and he's like a middle-aged 50-year-old guy with a few kids, you know, and like bald, completely bald, white hair, like fat, you know. So
Korea, I mean, a Korean isn't fair. They got fantastic skin.
Yeah, they got good
so
genes.
Slowly. It's
they got good genes. Yeah.
Yeah, I find like I'll meet people from high school, and as soon as they start putting on weight, it's like they look like they're 50.
Yeah.
And if they're drinkers, it's like
oof,
the leather bag face where they got the crinkles.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And like they get a bulbous nose, they get rosacea, you know, the face is red. Liquor's definitely bad.
Oh man, we went on a trip with well, it's funny because like if I have drinks, I keep it pretty pretty low key just because trying to not rack my brain. You know what I mean? I find like with mental health and physical health, like, you know, being hungover is really fucking bad for you.
Yeah. Right.
You know, people want to drink. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But we went on a trip with a couple and they were like heavy ass drinkers, like first thing in the morning until late at night.
Right.
And we're all the same age.
Yeah.
And like his face was always red.
Yeah.
And he was like winded all the time.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even a big fat guy.
Yeah.
But like he had to keep the party going.
Right.
Because like when that ends, man, you gotta deal with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Hangover.
That's like blood pressure like through the roof, you know? I got a buddy or buddies like that. And it's bad in policing for that, right? Like
I bet, yeah.
So but if you get like liquored up and you're hungover the next day, that hangover just doesn't last a day. Like even though you might feel better on the next day, like a lot of studies show that like you don't regain your body's equilibrium or, you know, electrolytes, all that kind of stuff for like a week afterwards. You know, so you think about people that drink heavy every week, like every Friday or every Saturday or a few times a week. I mean, these people are in a perpetual state of being hungover, and that's not good.
No,
it ages you so quick. And,
it does, yeah.
and there's a lot of new evidence coming out that alcohol might be related to cancer as well. So, you know, you think about the uptick in cancer rates and whatnot or whatever. So it's hard not to think that might factor into it. But I wonder, you know, is our population more booze bag right now or less than they were like 100,
I think it's
100
less.
Years ago?
Yeah.
You think it's less than 100 years ago?
I think so. Especially people that like most of my friends now were like into something like biking or like a sport,
right?
You know, and like you don't really have time to be hungover, but like, man, even like I find beer is so heavy that it feels like you ate like McDonald's every beer.
It's true. Yeah.
And I think people are turning to cannabis more.
Yeah.
Like,
edibles
are great.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned before that it disrupts your sleep, but I do find like I feels like I slept good and I don't feel like shit the next day. And to be honest, like I'm in like a great mood.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like if you don't use it and you cannot get to sleep or at all without it, then your sleep's going to be worse. So if you can use it and get sleep, but it's not like 100% best quality sleep possible if you can get to sleep completely sober and be uninterrupted the whole night and go into that REM sleep that you need. And, you know, then the trade-off is worth it. Right.
Yeah.
But that's just what like, apparently, you know, I've listened to sleep experts explain it that, the same effect that booze has on your REM sleep, cannabis can have it on as well. THC.
Okay.
So, both booze and the weed can help you get to sleep faster, but the quality of your sleep is affected. Now, there's no way like being on an edible has the same negative effect on your REM sleep as being totally liquored off booze, you know, but yeah, I mean, if it helps you sleep and you can, and you can't normally sleep solid without it, if you're waking up and your mind starts racing or whatever, then it's a good trade-off, you know? So.
Yeah. I like the feeling too. I like a mild edible.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me get super introspective.
Yeah. Well, you know, I like, it takes me a lot to like, if I'm out with my buddies or if I'm having a drink, like when you're 230 pounds or you're like a big dude and it takes a lot of booze to get you like in a mood where you're like having fun and whatnot, or like you're getting to that level on the booze where, you know, you're having a laugh at and being silly. But I found like that if I took an edible before, if I'm having a few drinks with my buddies, then I don't need to drink as much at all to have like that good time that I'm looking for when I'm having drinks. So it really cut down on my drinking, you know. Not that I had a big problem before, but it like that's just a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
So,
oh, absolutely. I find especially like if I'm out having beers with friends, like you're just drinking beers. Like I never think about how many I'm having.
Yeah.
You know, you're just chilling out, having a laugh.
Yeah.
Drinking beers.
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit, I drank 9 beers.
Yeah.
It's like, one of the guys on Friday morning at jiu-jitsu was saying, super nice guy, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was saying, he's like, yeah, man. He's like, no, when I go out, I go for it. He said, I usually drink a bottle of Jameson in like 6 beers. Yeah. And I was like,
a bottle, like a 2-6?
A bottle of fucking Jameson.
And 6 beer?
And 6 beers. Damn. And I was like, man, if I drank a fucking bottle of Jameson,
and he's in good shape.
He's in great shape, yeah. And he's there, you know, every Friday morning. I think he's there every Tuesday.
Yeah.
He goes to Republic too. And yeah.
See, that's a guy that should try the whole edible thing. And then, you know, because a whole bottle of Jameson. I mean, I love Jameson. It's probably my go-to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's 2 6s. Yeah, that's putting that right to the noggin. that's like, you know, putting a bottle of Jameson in the noggin and pulling the trigger. You know, like lights out. You know, yeah. I'd be pretty like that feeling of drinking and then not being able to remember moments of the night. Like that's a terrible feeling. I hate that. You know, so
yeah, the blackout where it's like, fuck, what did I say? You know,
yeah.
Like, Christ, you're calling your buddies.
Yeah.
Yo, how was I last night? You know? I say anything crazy?
Yeah, because I mean, I like to say crazy stuff for a laugh. You know, when I'm just like I'm rolling out of bed and I'm like, you know, saying stuff to my girlfriend and just try to get a laugh out of her. You know, but most times it fails and she's mad at me. But you know, so you know, when you're drinking, you already have those inhibitions lowered and you're just letting stuff fly. Then that's right. You know. Yeah.
That's the danger. I don't like. I find if you're on edibles, you're very conservative,
right?
With what you're saying, because you're overanalyzing words, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But we do this annual camping trip, me and my buddies, and we'll usually like make a big pot of psilocybin tea.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we'll do that on the Saturday, Friday before.
Tea, hey?
Yeah.
So how does that work? So you have the psilocybin in there, and it just like ferments or something? Or? Well,
yeah, it's where it's so dry.
Yeah.
You just take your mushrooms, crunch them up, and just boil them in tea.
Right.
Just let them continuously boil.
Yeah.
And then when you get the consistency you want, start pouring up cups of me God, and it's
Yeah, I've always been like nervous of any kind of psychedelics.
Yeah.
You know. You know people, or you know, I've dealt with people who've kind of gone off the rails on it and had like psychotic episodes.
Oh damn! Yeah,
and
that's scary.
But you know that's not happening from like psilocybin tea. That's happening from, you know, like heavy heroic doses of.
Yeah, no,
you know.
I'm also like I'm not taking it to get really fucked up.
Yeah,
like I like the best thing about mushrooms is that they make you like super happy,
and you're just one with nature.
You're one with nature.
You and the boys frolicking around in the woods.
Well, like we'll wear costumes.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like one of the guys wore like a suit with a tie, and like for my bachelor party they got me like this crazy wizard suit. So
you're in the woods?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll wear like a wizard suit all day, and like some one of the guys just wore like a life jacket, you know, and you're just like in the woods, there's fucking no one around. And like, we were playing football and like, just, you know, like
that sounds like a deadly time.
It's a blast. But the night before, so we did it up, I got a camper. So I had everyone that camped around it basically.
Yep.
And I was sitting at the table. We were like shooting the shit. And I drank like 3/4 of a bottle of Buffalo Trace. And man, I was sober. Like that's the way I felt.
Yeah.
I fucking stood up and it just hit me. It was like a wave of being hammered. And I was like, what am I doing? And I fell and went through, broke off the fucking table in the camper. Like, I woke up the next day. I was like, for fuck's sakes. Trying to explain that to the wife. But
yeah. That's it. It catches up to you, man. It can hit, and it hits you hard. That's the crazy thing with the liquor is when you have a couple glasses of liquor, it has a bite to it, you know. And I think the bite is a good thing because it
slows you down.
It slows you down, and then but it kind of like numbs your senses a little bit, like your taste buds and all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden now you're drinking, you know, Buffalo Trace or Jameson like it's, you know, like a juice box, and then so you might drink and drink and drink even after an hour. Say you got half a bottle in you, and I drank half a bottle of Jameson in an hour. I feel great. Well, you know, wait an hour, wait another 2 hours, wait 3 hours, wait 4 hours. After 4 hours, you're going to be like pretty liquored up because it just hasn't been metabolized yet by your body. So, and then when you're drinking it that fast, then it all hits you at the same time. Yeah. And then you're breaking tables. And falling over and stuff. Yeah.
Like, I started off drinking old fashions. So you got to.
I love old fashions.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, I was just putting ice in there and pouring it on the rocks. You know? Like, what were you saying? Blah, blah, blah. And then like,
because making an old fashioned, like, there's a process to it.
There's a process
and a ritual. Like, you have to go through a bunch of steps. You know? So
you're enjoying it. You're like, that's nice.
Yeah. And then you're like, fuck this orange peel.
You know? Exactly.
Fuck that. You know.
Pouring it over the dregs. Like,
yeah.
But now, like, for a bit there, if me and the missus were like going to watch a TV show on like a Friday, she'd make us old fashions, and then
nice.
I'll just fucking have one or two of them, and that's
good. That's good drinking. That's responsible drinking.
Yeah.
You know, that's like ritualistic drinking, which you know, like rituals for people I think are a healthy thing. You know, where you have these kind of like, it's just kind of feels good to do that.
Yeah.
And have something to look forward to at the end of the week or whatever. And so yeah, I wish my missus would make old fashions. That'd be sick.
Oh, dude, it's well, you can, like, the simple sugar mix is like super simple. But they're pretty easy to make. You should make her one.
Yeah.
Poorly. So then she got to start making them.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, make a good one. Forget the recipe, and then get her to start doing it.
Yeah, I've always wanted to make old fashions or Negronis. Or what Negronis is the other one that is like a smoky whiskey drink.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are really good too. But yeah, I should definitely look into that.
You ever had the actual like smoke machine whiskey before?
Yeah.
Man, that's life changing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
There's a place downtown that has a Clint Eastwood. It's called the Clint Eastwood.
Okay. And
it comes with like a kind of a cigar lid on top of it, and it's smoking like as you're but they make the cigar out of
chocolate. Is that the one?
Definitely not chocolate.
Okay.
It's like an old fashioned, but or a smoky whiskey, but with this, it's delicious. Who makes that? I think it's Live downtown.
Gotcha. I'll have to try that one.
The Clint Eastwood, yeah. But what do they make that cigar out of? It must be, I don't know if it has the orange peel in it, maybe, or components of the orange peel. I don't know.
There's a spot right across the road from Hempware. It begins with an S. It's like a Italian name. I can't remember it now. But anyway, the reason I say it is because the dessert there is a smoking cigar, but it's made out of chocolate.
Oh,
and you eat it. So you open this box up and the smoke comes out.
Yeah.
But they do the smoked bourbon and the smoked whiskeys.
Nice.
That place is nice, man. Yeah. If you ever want to take the missus out, it's the food there is great too. They do Wagyu burgers and stuff.
Wagyu?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is Wagyu?
It's like a really fatty meat. As far as I know, like it's like marbleized meat.
Right.
It's pricey.
Yeah.
But there it's like pretty reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Because I tasted it there for the first time and I was like, it's like butter.
Yeah.
So good. And then I priced the steaks. And I was like,
that's not the duck stuff, is it? Or...
No, that's what is that called? It's when they like basically
force feed ducks.
Yeah, they have a piston that force feeds the ducks. Yeah,
that's crazy. That's illegal in Canada.
I think so. Yeah. But I bet it's delicious. The cruelty makes it so tasty. Yeah,
that's
Well, there's a French dish where you eat a songbird, and the way they prepare it is they take a full songbird that's alive, they drown it in white wine.
Jesus.
They cook it beak and all, and then you have to eat it under a tablecloth to hide your sin from God, is what they say.
Oh, have you done this?
No.
Good Lord.
No. I heard about it, and
it sounds satanic.
It's pretty, it's pretty evil.
Yeah, I don't even like when they throw the lobsters that are alive.
I don't like that either.
In a big pot.
Yeah,
you know?
I can't do it, and I don't even like lobster that much. You know, it's like I'd like to start hunting, but I don't really like moose meat. So I'd be like crying in the woods. Like, I'm sorry, I'll eat you. I promise.
I've had to put down a bunch of moose on the highway and whatever, and never a good feeling.
I bet.
But a lot different than hunting, obviously. Like you're
choosing.
Yeah,
choosing to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like there's a hunting, and you're doing this to get meat, and and if you think about it, there's no animal in the wild that lives a long life and becomes old and is like a retired animal that can kind of just chill. I mean, when you become old as an animal and you can't forage or catch anything to eat, then you just starve to death and die.
Or get torn apart by something else.
Yeah, or eaten alive. Yeah. So getting a 308 round right in the heart, and
it's not a bad way to go.
It's not the worst way that they go. So yeah, it's a lot different than a moose with a broken leg in a ditch that's just kind of looking at you, and then you're putting a slug into a shotgun, and you got to do that whole thing. That's kind of that's a somber moment.
I bet. Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be weird if anybody doesn't feel something in that moment, because especially like a moose is such a huge animal, and I remember the first time I put down a moose, and it was like super dark at night. I was in a truck, and I had my takedown light on it, so this big beam looking at it. So the moose had a broken leg, and it was snow, and it was just in the ditch, and it was just looking directly towards me, and I was just gonna put a slug in its head, and but I didn't want to get it so it was on like this kind of forestry road, so I didn't want to walk and get an angle on the moose because I didn't know if the moose could get up then and charge at me or whatever. But so I was doing it from the safety of the truck, and then when I realized, okay, he's only looking here because he can see the light, and so I flicked the light off, and then the moose just looks away, and I'm like, sorry, buddy, and then just bang. So yeah, that was like a moment where I was like, man, that sucked, but it's something you just got to do. I mean, there's no wildlife veterinarian that's going to come put a cast on its leg,
Yeah.
And that's all it takes for a big moose. It's just starve to death is a broken leg.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's a death sentence if you break a limb, but that's my issue is where they're so big and like majestic.
Yeah.
And like just taking them out,
especially the moose in like northern Alberta and BC, like giants.
Oh, I bet.
Like these, like as tall as the room here,
Yeah.
So, but on the other hand, I've seen vehicles hit them like little sedans, and the entire inside of the vehicle is just fur. Like it's just like a fur explosion, Terrible.
Kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
They go through the windshield and take out everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'd like to hunt like wild pigs because I'd eat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And they're kind of dicks.
Well, like, pigs, the things that bugs me about pigs is they're really smart. Yeah, and they're very, when they're domesticated, they're very similar to dogs in their personalities. And they have a lot of like, their skin and all that kind of stuff is like similar to human skin.
Fuck. Don't ruin pigs for me.
Well, so like when you've smelled like a burning body or two, right? Like it's kind of similar, right?
Really?
So, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, vehicle collisions or, where somebody's burnt in the vehicle or whatever, it'll have that kind of bacon or like that burnt pig kind of
That's crazy
smell, right?
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So, but what is, in particular parts of the U.S., they got like problems with like
wild boar.
Yeah, and then they'll reproduce so much that they become these like packs of boars that will just trample and destroy everything.
They're like super aggressive. Like they'll come for you.
Like, have you seen like people in helicopters like shooting like?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really agree with that.
But that's the thing. It's like you're enjoying it a little bit too much.
Oh
like
my God, they're high-fiving.
You have an automatic weapon, and it's like you're in like fucking Vietnam, and you got the fucking chain gun at the sliding door, and you're just laying like down on pigs. Like it's that's not something that I would ever be into.
No.
So
even they do it with wolves in some places,
right?
And they'll use either like a machine gun or a high caliber rifle.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
it seems fucked up because like you're not even collecting it; you're just wiping them out.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if there's probably some relation to some kind of like psychopathy. People that like love doing that, like kids that torture animals. Like you got to watch out for those kids.
Yeah.
Or like in a psychology test. Like I remember when I was applying to the Mounties and I was doing the psych test, and it was like I think it was maybe like a multiple choice or something like that. And one of the questions was like, did you ever like torture or tease animals? And I'm like, yeah, our dog at home, like I put her in like little headlocks all the time, and like like just like a full Nelson, and she'll like just as we're playing and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I do that. And I was like, so like circling like sometimes, Oh, no. But me is like, I was probably like 18 doing that test. And like, I didn't know that that's like a sign for, or like people that will, like, have you ever heard of like kids that will like blow up frogs and stuff or like kill frogs?
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like just for the sake of like killing something. Like I've never been like that. Or,
no.
So, those are the people that they're trying to weed out.
Yeah. So, that's a red flag.
Yeah. So it never affected, like, I never got dinged on anything there, but I remember like coming home, I told my sister that, and she's like, are you kidding me? You said sometimes? Like, are you nuts? I'm like, she's like, you're done. Like, they're not taking you, And I'm like, fuck. Right. So
it's headlocks.
Yeah.
Just put in brackets headlocks.
Yeah. So like with little dogs, you can kind of get them in the full Nelson where their paws are like sticking out there. You got them by the back of their heads and they're like kind of shaking around, But certain dogs you can do it too, and there's clearly like no, just the way their body's shaped. There's no like stress on them or whatever. But
oh my God, I like wrestling dogs is a rite of passage.
Yeah.
Like I put Roman in like the Durst jokes like loosely. Yeah, he goes crazy.
Well, that's the thing about people that own big like American pit bulls or whatever. That's one of the only ways you can stop them if they actually start like fighting another dog.
Yeah,
is to put them in a strangle and like choke them out. So I think I was listening to Rogan like back in the day that's something that he'd had to do. Like if he had two pit bulls and one of them was like super aggressive and they're like jaw locked in a fight, like ripping each other up, essentially like hop on its back and give it over a naked choke and choke it out.
Man. I can imagine.
Otherwise the dogs are going to kill it because they get into these like pit bulls will get into this like fight or flight mode where they're just it's kill or be killed type thing. So but it's an effective way to stop them. Doesn't hurt them.
No, and you need something like that. Pit bulls have such a high prey drive that they can fucking lose it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, Roman's pit bull, like he's a bully, but I can see it sometimes at the dog park.
Right.
Like if a dog's being aggressive and he sees it, he'll like I can see him tense up.
Yeah.
And then he'll like just walk beeline towards him.
Yeah.
So I'll usually follow him over.
Yeah, and they got senses where they're sensing stuff that we don't even know what's going on. That there's like like tension. Like they're really good at sensing like weird tension. Like my dog Stevie, like he's a few pounds heavier than Teddy, but Teddy's like a troll and he's saucy and he's like always like full of piss and vinegar. And he teases Stevie a lot, and Stevie doesn't make a sound, doesn't bark at anybody, loves people, and like wants to cuddle and snuggle all the time. But when Teddy is like fucking with him for long enough, you can see like Stevie will get this kind of look in his eye where you're like, hey, and you snap him out of it, and then he kind of like you see him snap out of it. He just gets locked in. Where he's like, I'm gonna fuck this guy up. Like I'm sick of this, and it's like, and he's being totally reasonable, right? Because Teddy can be such a little nuisance, but
it's getting that wolf instinct.
Yeah, and so he goes from this like little lovable loaf, like pudgy little dog to this little killer that wants to like beat the shit out of Teddy, So it's interesting that they can kind of get locked in. And
I saw Roman killed a rat in the backyard.
Oh, really?
I didn't even know what was going on. It was in the wintertime, and we had one under the patio.
Yeah.
And it was out.
Yeah.
And I let him out, and I seen it, and he fucking darts it and gets it to the back of the fence there.
Yeah. Is he fast?
He's really fast. I couldn't believe it because he's like, he's never
it's
really fast. Yeah. And it's funny when he gets going.
He's fast in a straight line. It's like a
he
gets that momentum build up. It's like
he's got too much like chest power. His legs are really Jaws says he skips leg day. So anyway, he fucking beelines it towards his rat and doesn't hesitate.
Yeah.
Just grabs it by the side, shakes it to death.
Yeah.
Then he's running around, throwing it up in the air and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, buddy.
And they're so pleased. Yeah. Like if you get like if I bring I'll pick up like from Winners or whatever, like a cheap stuffed animal for the dogs. I'm like, they're gonna get a kill today. And that's like, and they're so pleased themselves when you give them that stuffed animal and then they rip it apart and there's stuffing all over the place. Like they'll lay down and take a nap after that. They're like, fuck yeah,
Did this.
Yeah. They're like, those good days work, fuck that guy up. We got the squeaker out, we found where that was. It's almost like they'll fuck up the stuffed animal, rip it up, and the squeaker's almost like the liver. That's something that animals go for, like particularly wolves.
The alphas eat the liver.
Yeah, the first thing they want to go for is the liver, So they'll find what that little squeaker is, and then rip that up, and give that a few squeaks, spit that out, and then they're ready for bed.
What is a Frenchie?
Well, Frenchie's a bulldog. They've been around for a long time. They're the most popular breed of dog right now, according to like the kennel thing or whatever. Like, it's
I can see why they're cool dogs.
Yeah, they're little clowns, man. They're they got a lot of personality and they're lovable, and they tend to sleep a lot, and so
they got a powerful stance. Like when they stand up.
Yeah. So I mean, they think they're, like I said, they're little Napoleons. Like they think they're huge, right? They walk around. They got like this kind of like strut to them and stuff, like they're little bosses.
Yeah.
And so they got that. It's just a ton of attitude. But yeah, it's just like a little bulldog mix. Yeah, I guess I can't really describe it, but I read the history of them, and it's something to do with France and maybe like World War One. Back then, like they could use them as like little messenger dogs in the trenches and stuff, like running back and forth. Like there's some pretty cool like old school photos of Frenchies like with like a bit of kit on them, like a little backpack and whatever.
That's cool.
And they look like they're little badass dogs, So, but they can be these little badasses, and then you can put them in like their little pajamas, and then they're snuggled up in their pajamas, and they're, they're just, so they can be, they can go from being these saucy little devils to these cute little snuggle bugs, right? But
yeah, like Roman won't get much bigger than that. He'll just get a bit chunkier.
Yeah, that's I can't wait to see that, because he's already like a unit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's gonna get up to his dad was 89 pounds, so he might not get that big.
Yeah.
But he's supposed to get, his legs are going to get a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And
man, and like an 89-pound. Like how much is he now?
he's close to 70.
Yeah, like so Frenchies are typically around like 30 pounds.
Okay.
Like 28, 29, 30 pounds. Teddy's like 31 pounds and Stevie's 34 pounds. And there's like the difference in weight between them. Like you can really feel it. And Stevie in particular, because when you pick him up, he's like, he's just like a little medicine ball. Like he's no tension in him at all. Like he loves being picked up. So he just goes totally limp when you pick him up. And Teddy is like a piece of toast that you've left in the toaster. Like he's so stiff, so when you pick him up, he's like, his paws are sticking out and stuff. And so he feels really light compared to Stevie, but just a 30-pound Frenchie, like if I'm playing tug of war with Teddy in particular, like, it's really hard to get anything out of his mouth. He can bite down and just he has so much endurance too, that he can just like hold on to something for an extremely long time. And so, I mean, so they have like the same kind of build as a, other kind of bulldogs or pit bulls or whatever. So like an 9-pound, like your dog, 89 pounds with all like the muscle in his neck and his jaws, like I can't imagine like playing tug of war with him. Right?
When we're wrestling, I got to be like, all right,
yeah.
That's enough. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, Dad's tapping out here, bud. Like,
Man, well, like even like his play, how dogs like, they won't really bite you. They'll just like nip you and like hold you.
Yeah.
Like even that, it's like the pressure.
Right.
His big fucking giant mandibles.
Yeah.
Like, man, this is not fun.
Yeah. And like I found like it was like with Stevie, like it took some work with him, like getting him to play nice, where I'd have to, when he doing his play bites, I'd have to go, ow, ah, and like give him like a response like that.
Yeah.
Like even though it doesn't hurt, but I have to like show him that it's, hey, that's too much. And so it took a while, but he eventually got like better at like that play biting kind of stuff.
It's good to do when they're teething.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so like our dogs, they're not massive dogs, but they got a lot of torque. Our old neighbor got a Cane Corso.
What's that?
It's I'll show you.
A Cane what? Corso?
Cane Corso.
Cane Corso?
It's the biggest dog I've ever seen.
Holy shit.
It's terrifying. And like I love dogs.
Yeah.
I don't it's hard to pet them. Like I feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah. I don't want anything in my house that I can't like physically restrain. You know what I mean?
There's no fucking way he'll ever restrain that dog. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It's a battle tank. And like it's yeah. That's a Cane Corso there.
Oh yeah.
I'll pop it up on the on the video, but there it's massive. Like its head would be looking at you in the face.
Yeah.
And it's like jacked. They had people over and they tied it on to the couch.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking couch is like
yeah.
I'm like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah, they got 4-wheel drive, man.
Exactly.
They're jacked with 4-wheel drive,
But if that and also they're not like pit bulls where they're like super loyal. Like they can snap. So like, you take their fucking food. They want that food.
Yeah.
They could like rip your arm off.
Thing. And I'm so glad like I don't have that issue with my dogs. Like I can, like if they have anything in their mouth, I can stick my hand in it and they've never gotten like snappy or like possessive over stuff like that. Except for Teddy with balls, like, he's just obsessed with balls. He'll hold on to a ball like crazy. And he has a choking collar on him and I'll have to give that a twist until he's like, and he spits it out, But otherwise, he'll just have a ball in his mouth all day long. All day.
Yeah. I guess he wants you to get it from him too.
Yeah. Well, and he's, and it's mostly when Stevie's around that, like if he wants to show Stevie that, it's hard for Dad to get the ball from me. You know what I mean? But if it's just me and him and Stevie's not around, then he'll spit the ball out because he wants me to have it as well and throw it around for him. Yeah. So
it's different than like resource guarding.
Yeah.
That's when they get wily. We had so Tyson died last year and I don't believe in rebound dogs. Like I'm like, you just gotta give it time. Get over it and we'll look down the road. So I come home from work and Pam's like, I did something.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? she's like, she got a rescue, this like little Australian Shepherd mix. So we were about to go camping.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want this fucking dog. You know, like some rescue, it's fine. It's cool. I like that people do that, but we don't know this dog. And he was cute enough. You know, I was petting him.
You have kids at the time too?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you got young kids.
Yeah,
like a rescue
you never
dog
know.
that you don't know.
That's
like,
right.
Yeah. And like that whole resource guarding, like did it come up in like a puppy mill where they just laid a big pile of food into a giant pot and then all the dogs had to kind of fight over the food? That's where a lot of that resource guarding comes from.
Yeah.
It's just a lazy way of feeding the dogs where, essentially if you're not like the alpha and you're not like, growling at other dogs to stay away from your little pile there, then you're not going to get fed, so
you got to be aggressive.
Yeah.
No, this dog was the other thing is too, it's my big thing is like, who owned you? Like, were they a piece of shit? Were they hitting you? And
yeah.
So anyway, we go camping, and I had to get he had a harness on. I had to get it off him.
Yeah.
And he got a bit weird. He growled a bit when I was taking it off. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's weird. So anyway, we ate, and there was a piece of Tupperware, and he had it. And I went to take it from him, and he flipped out. And I was like, he got to go back. And Pam's like, no, it's fine. And she reached down to grab the Tupperware, and the dog grabbed her thumb and just fucking rip.
Jesus.
So I take the kids and her and the dog, drop him off back to the SPCA, and she had to get a bunch of stitches. She had a bone infection. She was hooked up to it's like a PICC line.
A bone infection?
She had a bone infection from the bite.
Holy.
And because basically it was so deep when they did the stitches, they didn't clean it properly or whatever happened. Classic. She had to get a PICC line in for 6 months and do a bag a day of antibiotics.
Oh my God.
She almost lost her thumb. It was crazy. This is like little shit dog. Yeah, it was crazy.
Whoa. Man.
So then, yeah.
Antibiotics fuck me up. They suck the life right out of me.
Yeah.
I've had to get I've gotten stabbed before and had to go on like 30 days, or not 30 days, but like 14 days.
No, was it MRSA?
No, 14 days of antibiotics. Yeah, it wasn't MRSA.
Okay.
But it was in my hairline. So if it gets in your hair, then it's bad because there's so many little blood vessels or I don't know, capillaries or something like that it travels. It'll start it travels the infection will travel much faster than in other places in your body. But yeah, after a week of being on that, you got 10 days to go, just total drain. Yeah. So
I found
6
part of my
months.
Stomach. Yeah. No, she was destroyed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. So if I found because I've had to go on long-term, or not long-term, but like a dose of antibiotics like that twice. First time around, I wasn't taking them with food. Fucked up my stomach big time. I was super nauseous and ready to throw up like constantly. And then the second time, every time I take it, I'd have like a huge bowl of Greek yogurt with it.
Okay.
And that helped a lot. But yeah, I can't imagine 6 months, man.
It was brutal. And so I'd have to hook the bag up for her.
Yeah.
And then she'd have to just sit there as it, went in. And
that whole threat detection with men versus women, I think men are a little bit better at like understanding that there's a threat. Because Clea was really bad for that when it first started happening with our dogs, when Stevie would snap occasionally and they'd have a fight. She was bad at recognizing that there was like some tension here between them, and there was some looks and some stares and some threat cues that were going on. And I would recognize there's something happening like way before she would. And she's gotten really good at it now. Like she understands it now. But yeah, it's, I wonder what that's like. I wonder if there is something measurable there that, where like the male versus female kind of makeup is.
It would make sense. Like women are naturally more nurturing.
Yeah. Yeah.
and men
have had to deal with combat for as long as there's been human history.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Because we were in Mexico, and there was a big fucking iguana there, and we had a couple drinks.
Right.
And she was like, "Oh, he's so cute." And I like grabbed her wrist. I was like, "Don't touch that."
Yeah.
It's like, we're gonna have to fucking cut its head off, so we'll let go of you.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the staff was there with us. She was driving us around in the golf cart.
Yeah.
And Pam was like, "Would those iguanas bite you?" And she goes, "Do you see this?" And she had a row of teeth, like a scar, right? She's like, "When I was a little girl, I tried to pick one up." Whoa. Like, see?
Yeah.
Don't touch the animals.
Don't touch them.
There's a great video of there's a guy at a resort, and a wild pig comes on, and he's like, "Oh, hi, sweetheart. Hi, come here. And the boar just comes over, and he's like, "Look at you." And he puts his hand out, and the fucking boar just clamps down. It's amazing.
Jeez. Yeah. Did he lose his hand?
I don't know. It ended, he stopped recording. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. Look at this shit. My favorite though is there's a guy out like riding his bike in the woods, and he comes across some wild horses, and he's like videoing himself with the fucking wild horse, and he puts his hand on it, and the horse bites his whole fucking arm with his big horse face.
Big old
horse
what
are you guys thinking about? Like,
they got big piano keys for teeth.
They do, man. They're huge.
I've always been like uneasy around horses.
Yeah.
They're so huge. They're just, they have an impossible amount of muscle. And, so
anything that can kick me to death is scary.
Yeah.
And they got like that big weird mouth where they come down with their fucking lips.
Man, but that's a job you can do in the RCMP. Like, you can do so much shit in the RCMP. Like, you can be a police officer and be a full-time musical ride member, where you're just like kind of traveling around and putting on shows for people, like riding horses in kind of like formation.
Okay. I've seen horseback police.
Yeah, well, horseback police are different than that. Like, these are like these are purely just like, we're putting on a show for you. And it's like, I guess it's like kind of a Canadian kind of like heritage type thing, or and it's a promotional thing for the RCMP as well. Like, it's the same thing as like, you have ceremonial soldiers in the US, like that'll like they're legit soldiers, but they've taken a job now where they might be guarding a cenotaph, or they're or they're working at the White House, and they're a Marine, and they're just opening up doors and they're saluting the president. It's like a traditional kind of thing like that with the mounted police. But yeah, so you can do that full time and just ride a horse for a living, and apparently they make a killing on just incidentals, like traveling around and submitting claims on like for food claims and stuff, but yeah, that's I had a sergeant one time. He's like, "Dude, you got to do that. You got to get into that. Do the musical ride, man." And I'm like, "What?" I didn't even know it was a thing when before getting into the RCMP. And I remember somebody explaining it to me for the first time, and when I was in training, and I'm like, "What? Are you like what?" I was like, "We fund this? Like we fund this like it's like a 30 horse kind of troop of like that you just put on this musical ride, and it's like you go to some town and you get information, you're riding these horses, and people come out and watch it, and that's your job. Like, it's like taking care of a horse and like practicing these like kind of moves with the horse, so but yeah, no, I'd be too I'm like a control freak. So if I'm on an animal that's bigger than me, who has control, whether I like it or not, so that's unnerving.
I feel,
and they're big old fucking teeth too.
They do, yeah. Everything.
Chompers, man.
Yeah, everything's big. They're fucking terrifying. I kind of picture you on a horse, like a giant jack dude on like a horse going around.
The only thing I've ever got on is a Newfoundland pony. Oh, that's the biggest thing I've gotten on.
What?
Yeah. So
did it survive?
Down at the regatta.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, I'll get on a pony, but I'm not getting on a horse, So I'm just on this kind of this miniature horse, and but I looked so stupid. You know?
Oh man,
yeah,
be a good picture.
Yeah,
We were me and my buddy went to Costa Rica years ago, and we did the horseback riding, and like horses again freaked me out. And so I'm on this fucking horse's back, and there's a woman on a horse in front of us, and my horse bites her leg, nips her leg, and she goes, ah! She looks back. I'm like, I'm sorry, I have no control over this thing.
Yeah,
it's like, come on now, buddy. His name was like fucking Speedo or something. I'm like, come on, Speedo, right? But anyway, so we get off the horses and they tie him up, and this horse is there, female, and its fucking piss hole opens up and just dumps piss. It was like the most graphic thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah,
it was like a fist-sized fucking piss hole just opened.
Yeah,
and dumped piss.
Yeah,
it's like that's what they have the piss out of. Wow, it's crazy,
man.
Yeah, so the males need that giant hog to be able to satisfy them. But
Jesus Christ,
yeah,
man, oh man. And even like mounted police, or if you're watching any kind of cops that are just riding around on horses, like they do that here as well. Like those horses drop massive dumps, like huge logs, man. Like the cop's not getting off the horse and scooping that up and bagging it up, like you do with the dog. Like they just keep on going. So you'll be walking around downtown and you have like firewood pieces of shit, like like that you got to walk around, and it's like, where the fuck did that come from? So it's from this beast, this huge horse. I can't remember what kind of horses they use, but they
use
𝐶𝐨𝐬𝐽, I think. Yeah. 𝐶𝐨𝐬𝐽, yeah. So
the biggest horse, with the biggest shit, in the street.
Yeah. So at the same time, as much shit as we've talked about horses, how cool would it be to be like in Utah or something, like living in a place like that with that kind of terrain.
I'm jealous. I wish I wasn't such a pussy around them.
Yeah.
Because they're beautiful and they're super cool. You see those guys that like get up in the morning and they're riding a horse everywhere. Yeah,
there's no real, scene or anything for that here,
No.
But like Midwest, I mean, that'd be so cool. You got like a little lever action rifle on you, get on your horse.
Get to wear a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go on a little patrol.
All right, Rusty.
Yeah.
Go down and see what those goats are doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that would be that'd be a cool life, but not Newfoundland. Like that's
no. Our roads are so shitty though. I mean, it's not a bad idea if we just switch to horses.
Yeah. Yeah. Horses. It'd just be horses, skidoos, ATVs.
Quads.
Yeah. Quads, trikes. Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah.
It's good to catch up with you.
Yes, sir. Yeah.